welcome into Victory Sunday right here on PHNX D-Backs podcast. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. This man next to me doesn't have his computer with him today, but he's still a wealth of knowledge up here in the cabeza. It's the one and only vice mayor of PHNX, Jesse Friedman.
I guess we're about to find out, right? Maybe I just won't have anything to say the whole show. I've been reading off a script this whole time.
He really has. He's just going to riff off the top of his head today, and you're really going to see how much this guy has up there. But of course, we are very excited that the Arizona Diamondbacks are able to not get swept in Miami. They did lose their first series of the year, 2-3 against the Marlins, but they finished the series off strong with a big win today, 5-0 over the Marlins. Zac Gallen was dealing and was incredible. But before we talk about Gallen, Corbin Carroll remains pretty incredible himself.
He does. He absolutely does. I mean, his 2-run homer was kind of icing on the cake in that inning. D-backs offense finally was able to get some things going against Sandy Alcantara, who pitched a pretty darn good game for allowing 5 runs over his 6 innings.
But like you pointed out, one thing we noticed about Sandy Alcantara was he really doesn't have much beyond his amazing fastballs. Like he has a 2-seam and a 4-seam that are incredible.
I mean, like his changeup and his slider are pretty good pitches, but they're not like, they're not like Zac Gallen's curveball. At least from my perspective, I view as maybe a little bit more of an elite out pitch than Sandy Alcantara's out pitches. He just doesn't necessarily pitch for strikeouts as much, even though he had 9 of them in the game today. But yeah, Corbin Carroll is sitting 288. 300, 542. That's his triple slash line after this game. That's pretty good, Derek.
That's pretty damn good.
That's pretty good. A double and a homer in this one.
That dinger really did put the game out of reach, I think, a little bit for the Diamondbacks. And Corbin Carroll, he remains one of the best players on the team, and it's hard to remember that this is basically his rookie season. So it's just something that I feel like we've very, very quickly become accustomed to Corbin Carroll being able to do big things for this team. Sandy Alcantara, by the way, now has a 5.84 ERA, so not a great start to the season for him. Much different than when the Diamondbacks faced off against Corbin Burns, who absolutely kept this team kind of tied up there. But the Diamondbacks offense does produce today, something that they really didn't do much in this series. We'll talk about the other games in the series that they lost, but why do that now? We want to talk about Zac Gallen. Bert, once again, cursed Zac Gallen. I don't know why you do this, Steve Berthiaume, but Zac Gallen, even with the curses that Steve Berthiaume thrusts upon him, remains very good. His line today, 6 2/3, 2 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 7 strikeouts. Pretty damn good.
Pretty good stuff. Yeah, this was what you're talking about with Steve Berthiaume spewing off curses during the broadcast.
The man started after like the second. He was like, Zac Gallen's perfect through 2. We're coming back right at you next after this commercial break.
This was the first time that Zac Gallen has been perfect through 4 innings. He's never had a perfect game going through 4 innings. Yeah. But yeah, that ultimately didn't last. I'm going to make the case that wasn't just because of Steve Berthiaume, but you all can believe whatever you want. But he was outstanding in this game. It's crazy that just how quickly things have changed for Zac Gallen. His first couple starts of the season, he didn't look like himself. He kind of looked like the pitcher we saw in spring training. The velocity has continued to tick up for him. At this point, it's basically where it was last year. And he's just been really darn good in these last 2 starts, Derek. We're talking about a 14 2/3 scoreless inning streak for Zac Gallen, which far cry from 44 1/3. He's still got a ways to go.
He still does.
And scoreless inning streaks are, the chances of any pitcher putting together, 44 1/3 innings scoreless consecutively is just astronomically low, even if you are an incredible pitcher. So I don't know how long the streak is going to last, but the point is Zac Gallen looks like himself. He looks like the pitcher we saw last year. And like we talked about in our last show, after a Zac Gallen excellent start, there's really no better news for this baseball team than Zac Gallen being the guy that he was a year ago.
Absolutely. And scoreless inning streaks have to start somewhere, Jesse.
It's true.
Right? So even if they start here with a 14-inning scoreless streak, they can go on. The biggest thing, though, is that the D-backs needed Gallen to be right. They weren't going to be able to do what they did in the first week and a half of this season without him, without the starting pitching being back online. And honestly, the starting pitching wasn't terrible in this series, but the two teams had quite a comparable ERA when we get into the numbers. But speaking of numbers, Zach continues to have Jazz Chisholm's number when it comes to Jazz hitting against Zach, which delights me. And you know that every time Zac Gallen is pitching against Jazz, that it is the Michael Jordan, and I took it personally meme, basically live in front of your face, right? So,
well, especially ever since they put Jazz on the cover of MLB The Show, right? I took that
personally.
That puts some more fire in Zac Gallen's blood.
Oh, puts fire in my blood, Jesse, every single time. Every time I boot that game up, I have to be reminded about who is the cover athlete for that game. I don't even know if past seasons have it like as much. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a whole
I haven't.
There's a fire introduction video that involves Chaz with that. A lot of the production in MLB The Show is top notch, by the way. I just want to point that out. But I do want to point out that those people also put fire in Zac Gallen's blood with their rating of Zac Gallen, who thought it was much too low. But Jazz Chisholm now 0 for 6 in his career against Mr. Zac Gallen.
Yeah, I mean, you can just tell that Gallen there's a little something extra in there when he faces against Jazz Chisholm. I don't know if you saw
his first pitch today was perfect. His first pitch they threw against him was like the best pitch I've seen from Zac Gallen.
Those were some pretty good changeups that Zac Gallen had working against Jazz Chisholm, but I mean, Gallen wasn't just good against Jazz Chisholm in the start, though. I mean, he was good against every single hitter that he faced. I know he did get some calls along the way, to be fair.
He really did. I can't wait to see this umpire scorecard tomorrow, Jesse.
Yeah, it's almost to the point where, like, if I'm Gallen, I almost wish that I hadn't gotten those calls because I want to prove that, like, because it kind of happened in his last start, too. Gallen got some calls in that start against the Brewers as well. And but it wasn't. Neither of those were like
you know what I mean. Like, I mean, he's got a lot of movement on his pitches right now. And one thing that we saw, especially with like one of the strikeouts, was a considerable dip there at the end. I know, again, the strike zone thing always throws us for a loop, but he was definitely getting some calls today on the outside. Something that Madison Bumgarner wasn't getting in his outing, which is interesting, but Bumgarner's pitches don't exactly move the way Zac Gallen's do, so you don't really have the ability to deceive the home plate umpire in the same way when you're missing with 88 mile an hour kind of flat cutter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just that Gallen is hitting the glove more than Bumgarner does.
That's very true.
Bumgarner is not usually throwing those pitches where the catcher is putting their mitt, whereas Zac Gallen is nailing that glove more often than not. So yeah, he continues to look fantastic. And honestly, this rotation as a whole is starting to kind of come together a little bit, right? Every time Madison Bumgarner takes his turn through the rotation, we're going to talk more about Mad Bum later in the show. Every time you get there, then it's like, all right, you feel lucky to win the game in some ways, right? But Dre Jameson, Ryan Nelson, Merrill Kelly, Zac Gallen, those four guys are rolling pretty well right now. And it's still early in the season. There's still a lot more things that need to be proven on that front. But you've got the makings of a pretty good rotation outside of Madison Bumgarner, which, like I said, we're going to talk a little more about that guy a little bit later.
Oh, yeah. We love foreshadowing that we're going to talk about Madison Bumgarner because it really keeps the viewers locked in. It's exactly what everybody wants to hear about. But when it comes to our King Snake, we have one more candidate that deserves a shout out in this series particularly, and that's Josh Rojas with his defense at third base.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for how undervalued, I guess, Josh Rojas may have been, or I won't even say that. His defense was not this good last year.
Yeah, it was
Josh Rojas
has
put in the work, and it has made a noticeable difference on the field because he has been incredible in the series over there at the hot corner.
Yeah, I asked Tori about this last week when the D-backs were at home. What have you seen not only from Rojas, but from Ketel, who's another guy that the team wanted to see some big improvements from defensively over the offseason. And on Rojas, Tori just went on and on about, how he really went to work and he kind of took to heart what the team told him last year when they were willing to bench him for multiple games, right? Just because of his third base defense. I know from our Twitter account, we've said crazy things like Josh Rojas is the greatest third baseman of all time. Maybe we're not quite
one
there.
One of us has said crazy things.
We're not quite at that point yet. But it is truly incredible what he's done. I mean, some of these plays that Josh Rojas is making, they're not just, it's the consistency that he's doing these things with. I think yesterday in the game, you can count 4 different plays in that game, even though it turned into a loss for the D-backs, where Rojas made plays that not that many third basemen would make consistently. And then you saw it today again with the double play that ended this game. Rojas, diving to his left and making a nice throw and starting a double play. He looks outstanding at third base. And entering yesterday, Josh Rojas was tied for the league in outs above average across all of baseball, which still very early to be looking at defensive metrics like that. But you can see, going from being what most people would consider a below average third baseman to, at least according to that metric, one of the better defenders in baseball right now. It's really incredible.
Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks had a chance today to slip down to 500, but with the win, they stay 2 games above it. And Damon, let's see Cattell climb. Can we get Cattell climbing real fast? Let's go, Cattell! Get your ass up that mountain. Mount 500, baby. They stay over the peak. Arizona Diamondbacks stay above 500, 9-7 with today's win. And I know we have all these wonderful candidates, but it's hard not to give today's King Snake to the one and only Zac Gallen. 6 2/3 innings pitched, 0 runs, 7 Ks. Probably could have gone 7. But again, I think that it's another wonderful outing. Very encouraging to have the Diamondbacks ace once again on a scoreless inning streak like he is on. And again, it's a great opportunity for this, like Jesse said, this starting rotation to kind of get back on track, because it really feels like these guys are starting to throw well. Merrill Kelly up next, and then the young guys beyond that. But we have a lot to talk about when it comes to what's going to happen with this rotation and Mad Bum. Of course, we did get one brand new, wonderful piece of information, and that was Evan Longoria's new cleats, Jesse. Evan Longoria got some new cleats. He was showing them off today on Instagram. And let's just take a look at these fire, because maybe these new cleats, I know he didn't play today at third base, Jesse, but maybe these cleats are part of bringing them some good luck. And maybe they don't lose another baseball game with these fire-ass cleats. Like, these are good. But the other ones, my God, let's take a look here. Evan, can we get a look, Evan, at the other ones? These teal with the snake skin, bro, those are fire.
Those are hard.
I don't even care that they're New Balance. I'm happy to be a dad in some New Balance if they fucking look like that.
You put snakeskin on anything, it looks fire.
Exactly, unless it's a gradient powder.
Yeah, unless it's those jerseys and hats.
Yeah, that's different. But
Evan Longoria was actually runner-up for King Snake today. It wasn't Josh Rojas.
Yeah.
Just because of the cleat, he didn't even play in the game
He's
today.
Not wrong.
Didn't even have that good of a series, but because of the cleats, he was right up there.
I'm ready to bet on the Arizona Diamondbacks again, Jesse, and I'm going to do it on the BetMGM Sports app. I'm excited. This team's rolling, and you can get down on some good bets. Today, our boss Saul missed his parlay on the game by 1 leg, and I'm proud to say that leg was he bet on Jazz Chisholm to get a hit, and that's why you should never do that.
I'm not really sure what was going on. Saul's mind.
Zach Gallen, fire in his blood, in his blood. He's got fire in his blood. You don't do that. You got to think about when you're placing your bets on the BetMGM Sportsbook app. You have to make sure to consider the fire in one's blood before doing so. But all sorts of great stuff coming up at the BetMGM Sportsbook out at State Farm Stadium. Cornhole, we're going to have meetups and events, and most importantly, all of our Suns away playoff games are going to be out there. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM app, you use bonus code PHNX, and you will get up to $200 in bonus bets instantly on your first wager. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app, sign up using bonus code PHNX, place a pregame moneyline wager in the amount of at least $10 on any market at standard odds price. You will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of the outcome of your wager. Just make sure you use bonus code PHNX when you sign up. Please join us at the BetMGM Sportsbook at State Farm Stadium for all Suns away playoff games. Our PHNX Suns watch parties presented by Neutral will feature food and drink specials, PHNX giveaways, including some shirts. We were giving away some shirts kind of at random at times, so maybe you'll get a shirt. And the biggest thing is BetMGM deposit matches, which I don't mean to give this away. It's probably supposed to be a secret, but some of them are very, very big. Very big. So make sure, do not miss out on this opportunity to get some free bets and make some money out there at the BetMGM Sportsbook app with us and watch the Suns make their way to the NBA Finals, which we all know is going to happen. It's Suns Day today. It's Galentine's Day today. It's a wonderful day. I'm going to put back on the big stupid hat because I think it's a promise I made. But before we move on, Shane Diefenbach just got here, and he's going to talk to you guys about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
All right. Well, if you haven't signed up for a Die Hard membership, I got the Sunday win hat on, so let's go. This is for the Diamondbacks. It's also going to be for the Suns. If you haven't signed up for a Die Hard membership already, get over to gophnx.com and do that right now. You can access Jesse's Full Count newsletter, which has all the reasons why the Diamondbacks start is impressive, and he has 8 reasons for that. 8 reasons. Wow.
Well, because they were 8-5 at the time, so 8 reasons for 8 wins.
He's a good writer. He's a good
So
writer.
I guess that means tomorrow I have to write about 9 reasons for 9 wins.
Yeah,
and then
there we
I'm going to
go.
really be in trouble.
Oh my God. When they get to
mid-season.
82 wins, let's go. But make sure to not miss out on Full Count, Jesse's newsletter, or any of the wonderful writing offered from our writers, all of our content. You not only get that, but you get a free piece of merch like this wonderful shirt I'm wearing right here. Let's go, KD. Big game for the Suns today. Big win for the Diamondbacks. Maybe that kind of helps them get the right mindset. But you get your free merch as a diehard. You also get access to our members-only Discord lounge. You get members-only discounts with our partners and on events. You also get members-only invites to special events and members-only merchandise. So much stuff. Become a member today. It is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. And we appreciate you guys being here today in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Make sure to stick around. We got lots of goodness coming up today. The Coyotes are on after us, and then we got the Suns pregame and postgame. So stick around right here on PHNX. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our shows go live. Leave us a thumbs up. I mean, you can do it for the other shows. That's fine. I don't care about that, though. I care that you leave us a thumbs up, and we just love that. We also have our audio listeners, which we never forget about. Make sure if you are listening right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave us a review. We appreciate you doing so. Big thing, Arizona Diamondbacks, PHNX. We are linking up for our Takeover Season Pass, the official PHNX Diamondback Season Pass. You can join us for a bunch of games. We got 6 games coming up. You also get this free PHNX It's Always Sunny shirt and our pregame meetup access where you will get fed. I still want to know what the food situation is going to be like over there. I keep asking, and Saul just keeps kind of winking at me and stuff and being like, don't worry about it. It's going to be awesome. So he's already talking big game. So make sure you don't miss out on us. And here are the games that we are going to be covering. We have all of our list of games. So not only will we have these games available as part of this takeover package, but you can also purchase individual tickets if you just want to join us for some of these games. But look at that, 1 per month, going from now until September. So make sure to join us for some of these games. Big games. We got the Giants, we got the Padres, we got the Rockies in there. Also Cardinals. We're going to all get together and have a good cry over Paul Goldschmidt coming back to Chase Field. And then the Braves and the Royals. So great options there. And more importantly, you get to join us and have a great time with your friends from PHNX. You guys have made my life infinitely better. And if you haven't had a chance to let these people make your lives better, join us for the Takeover Season Pass. Let's take a dive really quick into the numbers for this series, Jesse, because it is the Diamondbacks' first series loss of the year, which wasn't great, but things were pretty even. So if you want to take a look at how close baseball can be, well, there you go. Yeah,
I mean, both teams got pretty decent performances from their starting pitchers in this series when all was said and done. Sandy Alcantara, ironically, wound up having the worst start by far in this series for the Marlins.
Just as we predicted.
The D-backs really struggled with Trevor Rogers and Braxton Garrett, but you get the reigning NL Cy Young out there, and suddenly you make it look easy. Mad Bum obviously was the main contributor to that 3.06 ERA. Both Ryan Nelson and Zac Gallen combined to give up 1 run altogether in their starts in this series. So good stuff there. The D-backs bullpen Only 2 runs allowed in the series, Derek, but those 2 runs proved to be
critical runs. Pretty
crucial. Probably the worst time they possibly could have come. You wouldn't have really minded 2 runs from your bullpen in the Friday game, or even if they gave up 2 runs today, right? That would have been fine. The one game where you couldn't give up 2 runs out of the bullpen was yesterday's game. D-backs had a 2-1 lead late and ultimately squandered that, lost the game 3-2. So the timing of things didn't work out from a bullpen perspective, but a 2.45 ERA as a whole for the series, not too bad there. D-backs didn't hit with runners in scoring position much at all in the first 2 games of the series, but they were 3 for 6 today, and were able to get that number up to 267, pretty comparable to the Marlins 286. So yeah, I mean, pretty even series. Unfortunate the D-backs come out on the losing side.
One thing that was obviously there's 2 players here that we have to talk about. One thing you brought up was Scott McGough there, giving up the 2 runs at the worst possible time that he could have given them up. And it doesn't really help Scott McGough's case for being the guy that was potentially foreseen as the closer for this team this season.
Yeah, I mean, he got a save not that long ago, one of his first appearances of the year. I think the D-backs did view him as a late inning, high leverage option, and so far he hasn't really pitched like that, right? 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. I think that's his numbers for the season. That's just not good enough for a guy you're going to trust in the later innings of the game. Continues to be just kind of leaving his slider up in the zone and, just not really commanding his breaking pitches. He also, on the broadcast yesterday, I think Jody Jackson brought up some grip issues with the baseball being different here in the U.S. than what he was using in Japan. So I think maybe that's contributed to things and made it a little bit more difficult for him to throw a splitter, which was a key pitch for him overseas. So, we'll have to kind of continue to investigate that. But for right now, he hasn't been a very effective reliever for the D-backs, and it's a couple games this year where the loss has kind of been pinned on him as a result.
Well, you can't pin it on anybody else, but what you can say is that Trey Jamison moving to the starting rotation, those effects are being felt because it felt like Andrew Chafin had to come in earlier than he normally would because they still don't have anybody to fill that role that Jamison kind of was, which was a stopgap at times when you still had a considerable amount of the game left to go. Right. Yeah. So now Chafin isn't available as a late inning option as much because he's kind of being brought in earlier. And
well, I think it's just kind of a game by game thing.
You're for sure.
Chafin in the 9th, you're going to see him in the 7th. And to be fair to Scott McGough, Andrew Chafin did give up the hit to Luis Ariz that wound up scoring the go-ahead run.
To be fair to Andrew Chafin, Luis Ariz has gotten a hit off of almost every fucking body in baseball because he's hitting 500.
Casually coming into this game with a 5.11 batting average.
Yeah, just 24 for 48, no big deal. Like not 4 for 8 or 5 for 10. We were talking about a man that had like over 50 plate appearances already. But the bullpen, it's not going to be perfect, and we knew that.
No.
Close games, we've already seen them blow a couple of them, and they still have some things to figure out. I don't know if Torey's approach of going with the non-closer role has worked or hasn't worked so far because it feels – but if Scott McGough was that closer, I would not feel nearly as confident about his approach that I do the fact that he can now pivot and maybe – not go to Scott in such big, high leverage situations.
I think the issue hasn't been, at least from my perspective, them doing closer by committee, I think has been reasonably successful. It's allowed Torey to mix and match, and I think the D-backs have been fairly successful in those 9th inning situations protecting leads. The problem is still just that it feels like you just don't have enough high quality arms back there, right? At the end of the day, no matter if you name a closer or you don't, or you have really strict bullpen roles or you don't, you need guys who can get outs in big situations, right? I mean, that's what it all comes down to. D-backs should be getting Joe Mantiply back very quickly. He threw 2 innings yesterday, talking about Saturday.
Man, he can't come back fast enough.
For Amarillo, yeah. So I think they might activate him tomorrow. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Have him join the series in St. Louis. That would be my guess. So he'll be a big add for sure. But you still feel like there's some room to add even more than that, right? And I'm sure if the D-backs are in the mix around the trade deadline, as we talked about in the past, this bullpen is definitely going to be a point of emphasis for them.
And there isn't really a lot of relievers available as like options for them to go after. There are still a couple of names that are considered free agents, but they all kind of are tied up.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Tied up in a lot of.
If anyone is a free agent at this point, probably a free agent for a reason.
Oh no, absolutely. So then it starts. It starts begging that question, like how desperate do they get? How much do they potentially want to possibly see about some of these guys that have issues or whatever?
I mean, they did just trade for Jose Ruiz, right, from the White Sox. So we've already seen that desperation for an extra arm come in.
Up. But they don't have the same desperation when it comes to the starting rotation. And when we talk about guys having that designated position right now, it's Madison Bumgarner. And I think the thing that kills me the most is that start for Mad Bum didn't look as bad in the beginning as it eventually turned into, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, what was he? He was scoreless through 3, I believe.
Scoreless through 3 innings, yeah.
And I mean, things just because of essentially out of a lot of Madison Bumgarner starts recently, we've kind of seen him struggle early and then get things a bit back on track, but not the case in this last start.
No, I mean, Mad Bum has a 7.90 ERA. He has a whip over 2. Opposing hitters this season are batting .321 against him with a .429 on base and a .554 slugging percentage, right? I mean, opposing hitters are just destroying Madison Bumgarner early on in the season. And reporters in Miami, it sounds like asked Torey about whether his rotation spot is secure. And the answer appears to be yes, that at least for right now, Torey said something like, this is business as usual. He's going to get the ball in St. Louis. It doesn't sound like that was even much of a question. In reference to Mad Bum's start yesterday, this is a direct quote from Torey Lovullo, taking over from AZ Central. Lovullo said, I think if you add everything up yesterday, there were 4 scoreless innings. I felt like he threw the ball well enough. I know I was asked a question, is he going to get another start? He will. It's really business as usual as far as I'm concerned.
Business
as usual.
I don't like that. But
I mean, there's one standpoint, like I think Torey almost has to say this because D-backs are clearly intending on keeping Mad Bum in the rotation for the moment. So even if behind the scenes they're thinking, all right, one more bad start and then we pull the plug. Even if they're thinking that behind the scenes, they're not going to come out and say that. They're going to say, business as usual. We trust in him, right? These are the things you're going to tell the media. So it's not really alarming, but you could make a case, Derek, that, I mean, St. Louis, like with how poorly the D-backs tend to play there, the fact that Mad Bum is a lefty and that team with Arenado and Goldschmidt, they just kill left-handed pitchers. It's a terrible matchup for him on paper. And I think everyone kind of has their own guess of how that start is going to turn out, and hopefully Mad Bum is able to surprise and turn things around, but it's a little bit hard to believe that at this point. Well,
if you want to go see a Madison Bumgarner start, the best way to do so is through our friends at GameTime.co. I don't know why you'd want to do that.
That's not a great. I think there's better ways to
sell it on that. If you want to go see the Arizona Diamondbacks continue to stay above 500, is that better? All right.
Yeah, I think that's
trying to sell it. But of course, the best, no matter why you want to see baseball, the best way to get your tickets to go see baseball is through Game Time. We love the Game Time app. We at times have a problem shopping for our tickets anywhere else. So make sure to get your tickets over at GameTime.co, especially if you are procrastinators like these two guys. Look at this guy. He didn't even bring his computer today. You think he has time to remember or what
procrastinating?
It's a lack of planning, right? It's a lack of planning is really what it is.
I'm going to buy my son's tickets tonight on Game Time.
Hell yeah, you are. And you are going to go witness the first game of a postseason where the Suns are
the run.
Don't
the run.
Say,
hashtag the run.
Hashtag the run is starting tonight.
Okay.
Make sure to be out there for that. I'm going to be doing little check boxes on my Twitter account for every single win. But, of course, you can go out there and watch those wins right across the street at Footprint Center, and you can get your tickets over at Game Time, which is the place for last-minute ticket deals. It is the fastest-growing ticket app in the country for a reason. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app now, create an account, use our code of PHNX, and you can get $20 off your first purchase, including tonight's ticket to the Suns game. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, Guaranteed. Also, if you want to watch the Suns, another option for you is to grab Fubo TV. They have 140 plus live channels of sports, movies, shows, and so much more. But most importantly, you can watch the most Arizona sports for the lowest price. You can start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. No contract, no cable, no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. You can watch the Arizona Diamondbacks on Bally Sports Arizona with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro right now. So go do that. Speaking of advertisements and partners, the Arizona Diamondbacks, we gave them a lot of flack about their AvNet patch. I don't know if you remember what their AvNet patch started out looking like, but we got
Oh, they remember.
Oh, yeah, you remember because it almost
remember.
destroyed the universe, and we had to stop that from happening. Damon, can we get a shot of what the AvNet patch looked like before they redesigned it? It was the full Zac Gallen.
This one?
There you go. That's
Yeah,
the one.
it did look
that's
like
what
that.
it looked like
Yeah.
before they redesigned
Damon's
it.
just confused.
Yeah,
He forgot how bad it was.
Yeah, I didn't realize it looked like that at the
that's-
beginning.
no,
My bad.
I get it.
My bad.
Then we also have the second redesigning of the patch, which featured my face and the PHNX logo. We were big fans of this one, but they apparently decided that AvNet had more money than we do. So they went back to this patch, which we saw today. And we commented quite a bit here at the office about this because we were realizing even this right here is the worst possible patch jersey combo that the Diamondbacks have for the AvNet patch. It is the one that clashes the most with the jersey, and it still looks really good. It's
respectable.
Still, It's respectable. It's not that it blends in 100%, which is what we want and the advertiser doesn't want, but it just goes along with their jersey very well. Meanwhile, the Marlins had their patch, which is this ADT job that looks like the little sign that ADT makes me put in my front yard when I have them.
Do you have
as
one?
my
Do you have one of those signs?
I do not. But funny story about that, Jesse. You can buy one for like $5 and put it up in your yard, and then it makes potential burglars think you do have a security system.
The people who have those in their front yard are clearly the ones who opted not to get the alarm system.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, because because you want to catch those people by surprise. You don't want them to know you have an alarm system. So when you put the sign out, it's obviously fake. But no, I've noticed this a lot lately. Baseball, we made a big deal about the AvNet patch, and they redesigned it, and I think they hit it out of the park. Is that cheesy to say? No,
they made
did
it
a
better.
good job.
They made it a lot better. The
Uh,
AvNet logo, I think, just naturally fits with the Diamondbacks
It
color
really does.
scheme
It really
and
does.
their designs in general. So it worked out pretty
But
well.
it didn't take much, right? It basically took condensing the black around the logo from being just this kind of big square down to like actually trimming the logo and stuff like that. It looks slick, but it also goes very much with their jersey. Jesse pointed out that the blue on the ADT isn't even the same blue as the Marlins jersey.
No,
then it
the
bothered
problem.
me the rest of the fucking game. Like I was not as annoyed to buy it until Jesse pointed that out. Like it's like they got like a teal thing going on. That's just a bright blue. That's almost a Dodger blue. Could you imagine if we had Dodger blue on our goddamn uniform, Jesse?
That would be a problem.
Oh, that'd be a problem.
Yeah, it's not just that it's not the same color. It's that it kind of clashes with the color. Like they just don't look good together, at least in my opinion.
Don't like it. And also other teams have had the gigantic jersey logos, right? Like few teams are as aesthetically pleasing as both the GameTime.co app and honestly maybe the Padres Motorola patch, because I still think that's one of the better advertising
I'm just
patches.
amazed that Motorola's still a company.
Yeah, that's why they put that patch on there. Forever. They want you to remember that.
Yeah.
We still exist, everybody. But anyway, remember, there's only two reasons why any brand does this: brand awareness or brand dominance. That's it. They either want you to know they exist or they're swinging that thing around to let you know how much money they have. But let's take a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks schedule coming up and what they have to deal with next. Very, very strong series with a team that honestly hasn't been playing great baseball.
Yeah, which almost, I mean, it's almost scary in a sense, right? Because you know that the Cardinals are kind of a sleeping giant, and eventually things are going to get better for them. But yeah, Jack Flaherty's been really good for them in the early going. You got Flaherty against Merrill Kelly in that first game. Mike Montgomery, tough lefty, against Drake Jamieson in the second game. Good matchup there, and then Woodford and Bumgarner in the series finale. One more thing
Battle
about
of +5 ERAs.
Yeah, that one maybe a little more high scoring. One more thing I wanted to mention on Bumgarner real quick is it wasn't just those comments that Torrey made after the start about the possibility of him being removed from the rotation, all that stuff.
No, there were some strange comments from Mad Bum himself, right?
Yeah, after Mad Bum's start, and if you watched the broadcast, if you watched their post-game show on Bally after the game ended, you saw this. Mad Bum said something along the lines of those 2 extra days of rest that he was given, that something wasn't normal about that. There was something different that happened during that span of time, which he wouldn't disclose to the media. He said he wanted to keep that a secret. But it kind of seemed to point to maybe some sort of a health issue that came up that maybe he was trying to recover from over those extra couple days. Torrey in his presser yesterday kind of downplayed it and said nothing more than what I feel like are the common aches and pains. Torrey talked about how he felt like he used him a little bit too much in his second start of the year. Mad Bum threw over 100 pitches in his second start. Torrey kind of regretted that move. But Torrey basically downplayed it and said, no, Mad Bum's fine. Everything's okay, which was really weird after Mad Bum came out, on camera, on the record, and said that something was different in that span of 6 days that he was off between starts.
You alluded to it earlier. Like, we know that Torrey is very honest with us, but he also has no problem at times telling us that he's keeping things from us. And in this case, he wasn't the one that said it. But like you said earlier, if they're thinking about Mad Bum not starting after this next start in St. Louis, or maybe this game against the Cardinals, maybe that's going to make a decision happen one way or another.
It's possible.
They're not going to tell the media that. They're not going to say that in a post-game thing. And Torrey, for the most part, is going to keep some of those decisions under wraps, mostly because there's a lot of scrutiny that goes along with it, right? If Mad Bum doesn't have a good outing, but let's say Torrey realizes he doesn't have the starters or the ability to maybe remove him yet, people are going to say, why, you said you were going to do something if something didn't happen or whatever, right? This situation with Mad Bum is strange, but I don't think it's strange for any other reason that Mad Bum has a lot of mileage in Major League Baseball in his body. Chances are, I mean, I've told you guys, I can randomly wake up on a day and be inoperable due to the way that I slept on my neck. And I had a headache the other day for 3 days straight, and I welcomed death at that point. So, and that's just a headache. I mean, that's just me.
Is that bad of a headache, dude? Oh my gosh.
It's the fact that it lasted for 3 days, Jesse. It was less of the headache itself and the length of it. If I had the hiccups for 5 straight days, I might not come into work anymore, is what I'm saying. You might just find me outside.
The hiccups for 5 straight days would low-key be like one of the worst things I've ever gone through.
Right. But Brett Johnson and the Buck Stops here both asked about coming out to our pregame meetups, even if you're a season ticket holder. Yes, get to us. Get at us on our Twitter account, and we will definitely make that happen. We want to make sure you guys join us as well, even if you already have tickets to the game.
Yes,
we definitely aren't going to leave you guys out. We want to get together with everybody. So that's something we'll make happen for sure. But the Diamondbacks remain on the road. I am very close to having to dye my hair purple because they continue to win. And honestly, I'll happily do it. So let's get going. Here's where you can find us, by the way, this week. We got our normal 1 p.m. Mailbag Monday episode tomorrow. Then get us for postgame in the St. Louis Cardinals series, both Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday with another 1 p.m. show, and then we will wrap up the San Diego Padres series here at home. Which
that's going to be a lot of
baseball.
baseball. That's a 4-game series.
That's a 4-game series, right? Oh, so that one starts on Thursday.
It does.
All right. Well, we will make sure to bring you plenty of coverage for that as well. So make sure to stay tuned to our PHNX Sports our YouTube channel.
Yeah, is that what we do this on? Is it YouTube? It's still called YouTube, right?
I don't know anymore.
Change the name.
I feel like stuff's changing every single day. But the only way I keep up to date with everything is coffee and energy drinks. That's it, Jesse. My life is ran by coffee and energy drinks, and I get them all the time at Circle K because that is the place to save money on coffee and energy drinks. Get your iced coffee for $1.89, less than $2 for an iced coffee. Yeah, right. Good luck finding that anywhere
Yeah.
today. Also, you get your Monsters, you get your Red Bulls. You got Monsters 3 for $6. You got Red Bulls 3 for $8. You have our wonderful friends at Four Peaks that you can pick up 12 packs of their beer there, as well as other 12 packs of beer for as low as $9.99. So make sure you're not missing out on all this great stuff. Head to circlek.com/store locator. That's circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. And like I said, grab some Four Peaks there as well. Four Peaks, Arizona's #1 local brewery. You can follow them on social at Four Peaks Brew to get all the latest on Arizona's premier craft brewery. And you can join us for the NFL draft on April 27th. Brett Johnson asks, does Circle K got them sugar-free monsters? You know they do. By the way, watermelon sugar-free monsters. Can we talk about how great watermelon sugar-free monsters are? My God, game changer, life changer. I'm sure they're not good for me, but I don't care because they keep me energized. That's the only way I can do this show is with sugar-free watermelon monsters. But of course, one thing that also powers me is Four Peaks beer. You guys know that. And the best place to take in the NFL draft is with us on April 27th at Four Peaks H Street Pub. Maybe get the tour while you're there, find out about the ghosts who make the beer. You can also register for free in the link in our show notes to take advantage of beer specials, including $3 red beer lager pints, $5 red beer lager pitchers, and our usual $3 kilt lifter and wow pints. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. Also, if you're going out and you don't get chicken tendies, you failed. So don't go to the Four Peaks 8th Street Pub without getting some chicken tendies. Jesse?
You need to stop talking about food, Derek.
Oh, I was telling him all about these pizzas I had yesterday, and I thought he was going to fight me.
This game,
Jesse does not get angry.
because of the pitch clock, the games move too quickly, and I think I have time to like leave the office and go get food during the game.
And then it's the 7th.
And then it's the 7th inning after an hour and a half, and it's like, all right, well, I guess we're doing the show, and I'm getting food afterwards. So no more talk about food.
All right, well, I'm going to go get a delicious cheeseburger with all the toppings right now. It's going to be incredible. Jesse, I'll allow you to go get some food too, but we thank you guys so much for joining us and watching the show and loving the Arizona Diamondbacks as much as we do. At least I do. He's not allowed to admit that he loves it, but deep down inside he does too. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at Cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Damon is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys again so much for spending your Sunday with us. Let's go watch the Phoenix Suns start a wonderful historic run starting today. And let's all celebrate a wonderful Galentine's Day.
You're going all Steve Berthiaume on the Suns right now.
Am I? Oh, no, I didn't know I was doing that. Oh, I did it without even trying. I'm sorry, Steve. It's so easy to slip into that. But
the series is over, Jesse, before it even starts.
Oh, my God, he said the thing. All right,
Paul George is not playing.
We need to wrap up
done
before people start coming for us just like they did the other day. But on behalf of Damon, Jesse, and myself, we appreciate your time this Sunday. Go Phoenix Suns, go Arizona Diamondbacks, and remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's still so much more fun when you don't curse any of your sports teams.